Hey gang, Sheila here. I am at the Notasulga City Cemetery today. Gonna do a little cleaning. Told Diane I would get her a video. So this is my very first video. So y'all bear with me. Here is the Whitman plot. Got a little work we need to do, get some of the leaves up. But all in all, the headstones look good. Let's take a closer look. Here's Grandmama and Granddaddy, Samuel Gerald and Ida Mae Mahone Whitman. Ooh, little birdies fell down. I'll have to get that up. And here's Uncle Tommy. And here's Becky, Rebecca Lois Whitman. We called her Becky for those that don't know. I hope y'all can see this. And here's Ronald Eugene Whitman. We called him Ronnie. The headstones look really good. I see a few spots I might need to clean later. And here is Jimmy Lloyd and Brenda Joy Aldridge. Brenda Joy Whitman Aldridge. Some called her BJ. I just called her Brenda. Looks real good. Here is Warren Douglas Cooper. This is Diane's husband. Everybody called him Doug. And here is his army stone. Okay, here is Sammy and Kathleen. And before anybody asks, Debbie is working on her headstone. Thinks she's having a hard time figuring out what she wants. Last time I talked to her, she had 2 or 3 different things she wanted. So she's working on that. And as soon as she gets that, I'll get a video. Okay. That's the Whitman plot. All in all, looks pretty good. I really do hope y'all can see, because it's a little shady in places. Okay, gang. This, right next to the Whitman plot, is Jack Earl James and Mary George Mahone James. We are going to start today on getting this cleaned up. We got to do a little trimming around it and get some of the grass off of it. It's starting to grow here on Mary George. Let's take a closer look at the headstones. Here's Jack's. Let me walk around and get Mary George's. There's a tree in my way. A branch, really. Okay. And here's Mary George's. So we'll get started on that today. Let's see. Next, Let me take you over here to what I've been working on. And that is on the left side of the Whitman plot. And it is Virginia Mahone Thompson, or as we called her, Dooney. And this is what it's looking like today, and I think I can finish it up today. It was really, really black when we first started. Also, I have been working on Ida Mahone Weldon, or as we called her, Gunny. Of course, I never met Gunny. She passed before I was born, but I've heard many stories of her. I think I can finish hers today, too. Now, next is James Marion Mahone, or Jim, as he was called. And this was Gunny's first husband. And I do believe I can finish his headstone today, too. I'm excited about this. And then after that, there's a few little things, like we need to get up some of the leaves and some of the grass or weeds that are growing in here. Next is Jenny K. Thompson Snipes. This was Dooney's daughter, for people that don't know. And I had started on hers, but it is really, really dark and got some growth on it. So I will continue with hers. And hopefully, we don't have much to do. Maybe trim up a little around it. And again, I sure hope y'all are able to see some of this. Okay, now, need to walk on over. It's kind of toward the middle of the cemetery. And, sorry if it's shaky. Like I said, this is my first video. I'm going over to, if I can remember where he is. It's Samuel Jackson Whitman and Alice. Alice was his first wife. And this was Granddaddy, Gerald's father. And I feel like this is just shaking. So let me cut this off and find him, and we'll go from there. Okay, folks, I found him, and I was wrong. This is over near the road, next to Aunt Essie and Uncle Mitchell. And this is Samuel Jackson Whitman, which is, of course, Gerald Whitman's father. And as you can see, it's got a few things growing up around it. So I'm going to get started on that today, because I don't know how long it'll take to clean. Now this is Alice. This is Samuel Jackson Whitman's first wife. And as you can see, it is really, really dirty. So I'll start on her today. Swinging on around. And this is Bessie Joyce. This is daughter of Clifford and Irene Whitman Smith. Clifford Smith. And I will also start on hers. Then we've got my great-grandmother, Frances Elva Whitman. This is Granddaddy's, again Gerald's, mother. And I will start on hers. And if I'm still feeling alright, I will start on Aunt Essie and Uncle Mitchell. And theirs is not too bad. I think we can scrub a little today and spray the wet and forget. And that's about it on this plot. I got a lot of, after we get the headstones cleaned, we got to get a bunch of the grass killed, you know, the weeds and stuff that are growing in. Get it all trimmed up, looking purty. Okay, I'm going to wander back on over toward the Whitman plot. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, gang. Wanted to give you a little video about what I'm using. I've got two 2-gallon sprayers here. One's got water, one's got wet and forget. That is the chemical. Now, going over here to Dooney's, what I do is I come over real good, spray real good with water. Let it soak for a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Then I put the wet and forget on it. Make sure you do it and soak it really well. Then you let it sit for about 15 minutes. And then this is my setup. Got my brushes, my little rags, and my bench to sit on. And I've got some toothbrushes and a bigger brush. And that's about it. So in about 5 minutes or so, I'll be sitting down and doing some scrubbing. I'll let y'all know what it looks like. Okay, now I've been scrubbing, and what I do is I'll scrub for a little bit, then let it sit a little bit. Then I'll wash it down with some water, scrub a little bit, and let it sit a little bit. And then, while I'm letting it sit a little bit, I'll come over to this one and do the same thing. I don't know if you can tell, I can. But they're getting a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. And then I'm working on Granddaddy Jim. Got to put a little bit more water on his. But that's the step I'm at right now. And just kind of waiting. So I'm going to get back to Granddaddy Jim. Okay, I'm over here working on Kay's now. And as you can see, hers is, I don't really know. It's got some rusty looking stuff on it. It's coming up. It's just taking just a little bit of extra elbow grease. What I think I may do is rinse this off and spray it again with some wet and forget. Then I may walk on over and start on great-grandfather Samuel Jackson Whitman. I've pretty much finished up on Dooney and Gunny and Grandfather Jim, great-grandfather Jim, excuse me. Now I'm just going to let the stones dry a little bit, see how they look, and make sure I don't need to scrub some more. If I don't, I'll just put some wet and forget on them as I leave, and they will, it works with the elements. So I'll be able to just leave it and check it in a month or so when I come back down. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on K's a little bit longer and then spray it again. Okay, let's see if I can... Okay, let's see if I can show y'all. Now what I've done, again, just to reiterate, that's a word, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. And if I'm shaking, I'm sorry. Okay, sprayed it with the water, then sprayed it with the with the wet and forget. Now I've scrubbed it, let it sit. So let's rinse it a little bit. Whoops, wrong sprayer. Let's go with the fan. It's hard doing this one-handed. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's try this again. You can see a lot of the grayish stuff coming off. Now, I decided to go ahead and try to clean a little bit before I actually dug, just for this reason. You know, all this stuff right here. Because it'll actually help keep it wet as I'm cleaning. Okay. Now I'm going to let it sit a little bit longer. But you can actually kind of see better. So we'll see what happens on the next scrubbing. Be back. Okay, gang. Looks like it may rain. So let me show you what I've done so far. Now, as you remember, this is George Alice, wife of Samuel Jackson Whitman. This is his first wife. And see, now you can at least see her name and day of death and birthday, and it's getting there. So what I'm going to do, spray it down again with wet and forget. We'll check it when we come back. Now, here's great-granddaddy Samuel Jackson Whitman. And as you can see, it's a lot better already. Now, same thing. I'll wet it down real good with wet and forget. And we can check it when we come back in a week or two. Now, here's Bessie Joyce. If you'll remember, earlier in the video, you couldn't even hardly see. Well, that's just from today. But now, as you get closer, you can see her name and other things. So, I don't bend down too good, so. And this is my great-grandmother. Great-grandmother, Frances Elva? I'm not sure how it's pronounced. She's looking real good, too, for the first time. Spray her down with some wet and forget. Then I went ahead, I didn't get started scrubbing some of this algae off because I'm just afraid it'll start raining, and I definitely want to get them sprayed down with wet and forget. So that's what I've done with Aunt Essie and Uncle Mitchell. And I'll have to bring more tools to scrape some stuff off next time. Okay, gang. Here is what K's looks like now. A lot better. Still got more work, but the chemical will do its job some. So I'm actually pretty pleased with that. Now let's go check out. Well, here's the back of the Whitmans. Alright, let's go check out and see what Dooney and Gunny and great-grandfather Jim looks like right now. They're not quite dry, but Here is Dooney's. I'm pleased. I'm really pleased with the way they came out. Here is Gunny's. And here is great-grandfather Jim. And I'm sorry I did not get to Mary George and Jack or the Dixons just because I'm tired and it looks like it's going to rain. But now that it's kind of overcast, I want to show you Ronnie and Becky's again, just so y'all can see them a little bit better. All right, there we go. Now, wasn't too hard. I'm tired and hot, but I feel good about how it looks so far. And we'll get it done. Just takes a little while, a little elbow grease. And I got to figure out how to get rid of these fire ants. I have been bitten so many times, it's pitiful. I guess that's what it is. Looks like fire ants. Okay, gang. I think I'm going to go by and see Debbie. And then I'm going to head back to the house. Until next time.